maintenance yard is at ground level. Is that correct? The main yard, the rail yard, for your anticipated transit system. The rail yard, is that elevated or is it down on the ground?
If it's monorail or the magnetic levitation, where the mechanics work on is also at the same height as the vehicle.
Okay, so the whole entire maintenance yard is going to be built elevated.
Okay, elevated but not in a 20-foot clearance. Elevated a few feet off the ground.
Okay, so how do those vehicles then that are operated a few feet off the ground get from that few feet off the ground to 20 feet up to the track?
Incline.
How do they get there?
Incline.
On an incline,
Right.
a ramp, if you
Yes.
will.
Right.
Okay, so there is.
Those ramps at the yard are included.
Okay, I understand
right, but
that.
not at the end. That's where I'm having the problem, because those things are, like I said, close to 1,000 feet in length for each ramp.
Well, and that's one of your estimates, but you didn't really study this. You didn't study this particular system, so that's.
Yes, we did.
You studied this particular system.
I'm very familiar with Phileas buses. Those are buses. It just happened to have a special steering mechanism. Plus, now they're trying to incorporate the all-wheel steering system to have this docking mechanism. But as for the vehicle and its performance, it's a bus.
Okay, and why is that such a bad thing?
It isn't. That's why I'm saying that it's still in the mix of being eligible for the future consideration as a vehicle that's going to go on the top of the guideway.
But that particular option wasn't really analyzed in the alternatives analysis.
It's analyzed as a bus on the managed lane.
But not a fixed guideway.
Not a fixed guide, but again, rubber tire system can be on a fixed guideway.
I guess the problem I'm having is that when you showed us your presentation on busways, those were all strictly conventional buses, so that everything that you showed us was based on, I don't know what, or where you said busway characteristics. I presume those are the BRT systems that you were talking about in Australia and in Seattle and Pittsburgh. Those are all what you're talking about as a standard busway, right?
Okay, I think you might have a picture of a Phileas system to be something completely different from a bus. They are buses.
I understand what they are, but they're not conventional buses. They operate differently, they're steered differently, they dock differently.
Any bus can be made to have that kind of a mechanism. In fact, the General Motors, Toyota, they both studied that type of a self-guidance system.
And did you look at that when you did the alternatives analysis?
They're still in the research and development stage.
Okay, but this system is not in the research and development stage. This system is already operable, right?
Operable, yes.
In some parts
cities,
of the world.
right.
Okay.
Oh, by the way, that's DUA. That's DOUAI.
Okay. And when you were showing us the busway systems, you were continually saying that you had to have a lane to pass, but we don't have a lane for the trains to pass, right?
No.
So why is that? Why do buses need a lane to pass and trains don't?
Because typically on the buses on a busway, buses are smaller than a train, so they should have a flexibility to be able to pass other buses that's on a bus stop if there's no demand from a passenger to pull over.
But the trains are going to stop everywhere, whether there's a demand or not.
Yes, that's the advantage of the train, that you can provide that same capacity even though it stops at every bus stop.
But it slows it down.
Yes, it does slow down, but not substantially. The BRT system, we're talking about average speed of about 25 miles per hour also. And then our fixed guideway system is designed to operate average speed of about 30 and top speed of about 55.
Mm-hmm. But okay, well, we won't get into top speeds and speeds because I think that obviously also gets into technology. What concerns me is that you continually referred to when you looked at this back in 1989, and I just wondered whether you're really considering the differences that modern technology, such as magnets, might make in the operation of a system.
It doesn't.
That's your assessment, and that's why you didn't look at it.
If it operates as buses, it doesn't give you any different characteristics. But if it's elongated to have a capacity of 300 passengers per vehicle, and then it can carry 6,000 passengers per hour, and that type of a vehicle can be considered in our technology selection in the future.
And your 300 passengers per vehicle, you're talking about not 300 passengers in one car of a train, but in hooking cars together, correct?
Yes, it's in a train or
Right,
yeah.
so there's no reason that 4 or 5 buses couldn't go in tandem and present the same capacity.
That's exactly what it is. The affiliate system that you saw in the picture had the double tandem so that there are 3 vehicles. That's how they got the capacity up to 188.
Why is that okay for a train but not okay for a bus?
I'm not saying that. Rubber tire system that can carry 300 passengers per train can be eligible to be considered as a technology.
You just don't want to see us even think about having those rubber-tired vehicles come down onto the roads.
That's the only part that I'm having to come down onto the road and then operate as a regular bus, because that means we have to add ramps.
A ramp, conceivably, since you already have a ramp at the
How-
other end.
No, we don't have a ramp.
You have a ramp to get to the yard.
Riyadh is in the middle.
Okay, so 2 ramps, one at the
Yes.
beginning and one at the end.
Right.
And,
If you don't want to get off any other place, yes.
well, if what we're talking about is fixed guideway, people on trains aren't going to be able to get off either, are they?
People on a train don't get off.
Yeah, I mean, they're not going to be able, they're going to have to get off and get another bus or something if they want to get off in the middle.
But you just mentioned that you like the flexibility of the vehicles
Correct.
coming down from someplace and get to the
But they don't
final
have to come
destination.
down at every single street
No,
corner.
no, they don't.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay, let me suspend the questioning for a moment, and I want to give the citizens an opportunity to weigh in now. Because one question now, okay?
I just
These guys
wanna-
are very patient out
Okay,
there,
okay,
sitting
I
out
just
there.
want to provide
Okay,
one
just
clarification.
Go ahead.